we stay with Netflix with another Netflix original, and this is Don't Look Up. Now, this is
Yeah.
a film with a stellar, absolutely stellar cast: Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Kate Blanchett, Meryl Streep. Let's see. It just has it's just full of great
The trailer
actors and
had lots of
stars.
people.
Yes, yeah, it has Timothy Chalamet, Jonah Hill, Tyler Perry. It's just chock block with all sorts of stuff. And there's been a lot of stuff written about this film because this film is written and directed by Adam McKay. Adam McKay, who was known for doing a lot of films with Will Ferrell back in the day. So he did
Mhm.
things like Step Brothers and did he do and I think he did Anchorman. Yeah, he did Anchorman, and but in his later career he switched. He did The Big Short. He did The Big Short, which is all about the financial crisis. He did Vice, which is all about Dick Cheney, and he's come up with this one. So his later films have been a lot more about the state of the world and what the way the world is, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like almost kind of like screaming, going, "Why are we like this?" And Don't Look Up is a film in which a PhD sort of astronomy student, played by Jennifer Lawrence, Dibiaski, spots a comet. And when she spots the comet, everybody's like, oh my word, what an amazing discovery. You found a comet. Oh, it's going to be named after you. This is one of the biggest discoveries that we found. It's massive, it's huge. It's the size of Mount Everest. And then in the opening scene, everybody comes around and is congratulating her. Leonardo DiCaprio plays a professor and is like, oh, this is great and all that. Oh, well done, Dibiaski, well done, Brit. He's saying this is so good. And so they start doing some calculations to see what the trajectory of this thing is. And someone asks him, it's like, oh, what's that number? It's, oh, that's the distance it is from the Earth. And then someone asks, why does that number keep getting smaller? And he's like, okay. And he does some more, and then he asks everybody to leave the room. And he turns out that he's like, oh no, that is on a direct collision course for Earth, and this is an extinction level event. He says this is so far so Deep Impact, so far so Armageddon.
Yeah.
So but then what happens is that they go and tell people their discovery. They go to NASA. They go all this from until they get to the point where they go to speak to the president, and they say we need to go speak to the president because this is important. We need to take action. If not, in 6 months, this thing is going to wipe everybody on Earth out. And they go to the president of the United States, played by Meryl Streep, President Orlean, and the president is kind of like, all right, okay, cool. So I'll tell you what we should do. I'll say right now we sit back and assess. And the president's chief of staff, who is the president's son, is like, yeah, sit back and reassess. So you begin to realize when you have a president in office that's more concerned with image, who has their family members as part of their cabinet,
Uh-oh.
exactly. You begin to realize a little bit of what this film is doing. And then they decide, oh, we are not getting anything from the president, so they decide to go on
A comic called C19 or anything like that.
so so
DVD19.
they named the comment. They named the comment after the person who found it. So Dibiaski, they named it Dibiaski, and so they decide, okay, fine. If the president won't listen to us, we're gonna go on TV. We're gonna go into the news, and so they go on to like a sort of Good Morning America type TV show, in which the hosts are Tyler Perry and Kate Blanchett. And so in typical Good Morning America thing, or Good Morning Britain, or breakfast TV,
Yeah.
they're just trying to be jolly and everything about that. And so they're trying to talk about the fact that this comet is coming to the Earth and it's going to kill everybody. And they're like, oh wow, well, Tyler Perry is like, well, can it hit one particular house because there's my ex-wife's house and I really, really like it if it come and hit that house. and
Yeah, make a
and
joke. Yeah.
essentially making a joke of it, nobody's taking this thing seriously. And so the film now goes through the rest of society and sees how different people, and the overriding thing is nobody is taking the comment seriously. And then Mark Rylance shows up as a combination of Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, essentially a tech billionaire. A tech billionaire who has his own ideas for what he wants to do with the comet. And the thing that strikes me all the way through watching this film is everything that's shown in the film is what would happen. It is actually what would happen. The fact that the president will be wondering, how can I use this for my political gain? The fact that the people on TV will not pay any attention to it. The fact that you'll have a massive area of the internet that comes up in arms to say the comet does not exist. I don't believe that the comet is there. The fact that all these things, I'm like, this is exactly what would happen. As a matter of fact, this is what we have been seeing happen over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So for me, people have been complaining and yelling about this film. The main objections to it are that this film is not subtle. And I'm like, I don't think it's supposed to be subtle. I think
is that a requisite then to make subtle film?
well, you see, that's the thing. That's the thing, because I feel like people are saying, oh, as a piece of art, it isn't subtle enough. It's just way too on the nose. And I think that is the point. I think that because this film was there's two things you can look at and you can say, okay, this is what it's talking about. It's climate change, number one, and number two, the pandemic that we're living through. But knowing the way films are made, I know that this film, they must have started writing this thing before the pandemic started, and they must have started filming it before the pandemic hit. So it was being written about climate change and using this thing coming towards us as an allegory for climate change. But then even the director himself says that they had to take things out of the film because they wrote them in there as jokes, as trying to push things to the nth degree. But then those things actually happened in real life under the American administration that handled most of the pandemic. He was like, oh my God, no, people are going to think we just copied that. We have to take it out of the film. So number one, people are complaining that it isn't subtle enough. I'm like, I don't think it's supposed to be subtle. I think you are trying to refer to the way the world is now. The world is a very unsubtle place. You're supposed to, and for me, the point of the film is to show this is what would happen. Therefore, it's not going to be subtle because this is exactly what would happen. It would be this brazen. It would be this annoying on one side and all that. And the second thing that people have said about the film is, oh, it's not funny enough. And there's a scene where Leonardo DiCaprio he pretty much has a meltdown on live TV. That's very akin to, you remember Albert Finney's, it was Peter Finch. Peter Finch's I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore from Network. It's akin to that. And there's a bit where he says, maybe because these TV anchors are like, oh, we're just trying to make it fun. And he's like, maybe the end of the world is not supposed to be fun. And I think that is in that line, you're talking about the film. And the film is essentially saying, yeah, we're talking about the fact that it's just showing you what would happen. It's almost kind of like a thought experiment. If there was a comet coming to the Earth that was going to kill us all in 6 months' time, what would happen? And I think this film, I was watching the whole thing going, yeah, they nailed it. Yeah, that would happen. That totally rings true. That makes sense. And the fact it's called Don't Look Up is because at one point, people start off this social media campaign because by this time, people have dilly-dallied so long. And I don't think it's a spoiler, but people have dilly-dallied so long that you can actually see the comets. Like if you look up into the night sky, you can see the comets. So people start off this hashtag saying, just look up. Look, that is the thing. That is the thing coming for us. We need to do something about this. And then people start up a rival hashtag, don't look up. and it just, and the fact that they now bring on we have Ariana Grande in the film, and she plays a pop star kind of version of herself who they bring on, and they have to get her to sing a song about the thing for people to actually take it seriously. And if the pop star doesn't speak, nobody takes it. I'm like, this is where we live. This is where we live right now. This is what would happen. I thought the film was really, really good. I would give it a 4 out of 5. And I know that my leanings are probably a bit more liberal. Because I don't think that there's some stuff on your stereotypical liberal side that I think, hang on, that's stupid. There's some stuff on the stereotypical sort of conservative side that I think that's really stupid. But I do know that my leanings are a bit more towards the liberal side of things. And that's what this film seems to have come down to. They've turned this film into a fight as to the people who are liberal think there's nothing wrong with this film. How dare you say there's anything wrong with this film? You're a climate change denier. And the people who are conservative are like, oh my God, for goodness sake, look at these people. They're just, it's so unsubtle and blah, blah, blah. That wouldn't. And for me, I thought it was a 4. I thought it was a 4-star. Purely because I thought what was shown in the film, pretty much every single thing was bang on the money and would happen.
We've seen it, yeah. Because I saw the trailer, and my only fear when I saw the trailer was I was thinking Mars attacks. And because I thought
A
it's got
a
all
film
these,
that I love, by the way. I love
well,
Mars
they
Attacks.
threw all these names at it, and I thought it's all these big names, and it's all good. It's presented as like, yeah, this great thing, and I thought, oh, I've seen that before. So I was I was a bit worried that it would go down the whole Mars Attacks route, but you have reassured me actually that it might be worth checking out.
I think it might be worth checking out. I think it is. There is definitely also Mars Attacks has this sort of absurdist tone to it, but
Yeah.
an absurdist tone relating to 50s invasion movies, 50s and invasion movies. This definitely has an absurdist tone, but take that sort of tone and apply it to social media nowadays and what actually happens. And I just thought it felt almost to me like a documentary about the future kind of thing. If it's and so I thought I thought everything in this thing would actually happen, which is why I was hoping to see whether you'd see it and see what you thought, because I don't think it's a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
I don't think it is a polemic, but it's not trying to be anything else,
Yeah,
and
I
it
did look at it
is.
and I sort of shied away slightly because I was just
Yeah,
like, oh, I don't know if it's going to be my bag. But
yeah,
I'm more inclined now to check it out.
yeah, but it's yeah. I thought it was. I think all the performances are great, and oh, oh my god! I just remembered. There's a bit where what's his name? Guy who played Hellboy first time.
Ron
Uh,
Perlman?
that's it. Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman shows up to play quite an offensive character, but he's quite funny. Ron Perlman, essentially, there's all these little bits where people just show up to do something, and it's quite good. But yeah, I'll give 4 out of 5 for Don't Look Up. Yeah, right, and that is it. That is